The jury in the Jennifer Crumbly case says it was a key piece of evidence that led to her conviction. Tonight, we look into how the gun used in the Oxford school shooting could play a role in the trial for James Crumbley. We are 2 weeks away from James Crumbley's trial for involuntary manslaughter in the deaths of 4 students at Oxford High School.
Christy McDonald is anchoring our streaming coverage of the historic trial. She's looking into the case and focusing this week on the murder weapon.
James Crumbley is accused of being grossly negligent, that he could have foreseen and taken action to prevent his son from opening fire at Oxford High School back on November 30th, 2021. Now, the case could come down to the storage of his guns, especially the one he bought and gifted to his son, and you can look back to Jennifer's trial for clues. Butzel criminal defense attorney George Danini explains.
How important is it going to be for the prosecution to show that James bought the gun? Again, that was shown in Jennifer's trial, and it was his primarily responsibility for possession and storage.
How much access did he really have? Where was it kept? We'll see how this stuff comes out, but the gun was in one place. The bullets were in another place. There was a lock, but I don't think there's...
But was it used? Yeah.
Right, and I don't think we know that. So was it locked, and then there was a key somewhere else?
I think it's the timeline between what happened Sunday afternoon when Jennifer went to the shooting range with her son and then said she brought the gun home, and then it was James's responsibility from there to take it out of the car, and then what happened on Tuesday morning. I feel like there's a lot that we still don't know right there.
I think that's right, and that's gonna, I assume, be very important to what gets presented in the trial. And I think, as you know, when the jury foreperson was interviewed following the verdict in the Jennifer Crumbly case, she said that seeing Jennifer Crumbly being the last person to have the gun leaving the shooting range was very important to their deliberations. So that gives you some insight about how important it is to at least those jurors who had possession of this weapon.
What's the location of your emergency? Okay, I'm not really sure. I'm at my house. There's an active shooter situation going on at the high school. My son goes to high school. I have a missing gun at my house. I need an officer to come to my house right away.
How important is the 911 call from James after hearing about the shooting happening? He went home to check if the gun was there, and then he called 911 saying, I think it's my son.
That may be helpful to him, okay? That shows what a reasonable person would do. That kind of can tell you he needed to confirm something to know, is this, could this have possibly been my son? I mean, I think, again, the defense theme for Jennifer Crumbly, and I assume for James Crumbley, would be, how could I have known that my own child would do something like this?
The one thing that sticks out to me is a damaging text that the shooter actually sent to a friend saying, I asked for help from my dad, and he said to take some pills and to suck it up. The defense, no one can cross-examine the shooter on those text messages, but we saw them come through in Jennifer's trial.
Yeah, so whether they'll come in, or in this case, just again, because it came in there doesn't mean it's going to come in here. And so there's all kinds of evidentiary rules that are out there to determine whether something should come in. That'll be up to the judge. Yeah, and it's a problem. If something like that comes in, you can't cross-examine a piece of paper.
The defense has filed a motion to get both the shooter's journal and the text messages between the shooter and his friend tossed out. The judge is going to make a decision on that coming up next week. And make sure you stay with ClickOnDetroit.com and Local 4+. We will be streaming all of the pre-trial proceedings as well as the entire trial when it starts on March 5th. I'm Christy McDonald. Back to you.
Christy, thank you. And just yesterday, the judge denied James Crumbley's request to move the trial out of Oakland County. As for the murder weapon, the judge is allowing testimony from the man who owned that gun before it was bought by the Crumbleys.